Good morning. Welcome to your Daily Dose with April Williams. Thank you for joining me this morning. This morning I am located in Beyond Church on 110 East Gay Street. I wanted to broadcast from here today. So come and join us on Sunday mornings at 110 East Gay Street. So that's where I am this morning. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. So we've been talking about interpersonal relationships all week. And an interpersonal relationship is simply a relationship where there are strong bonds. And I recently listened to a great broadcast from Dr. Paul Kreitz about relationships with your adult children. And I'm going to reshare that on Facebook. If you did not get to see that, that was a dynamic broadcast. You've got to see that. I'm going to reshare it, but if not, you can go on his Facebook page, Dr. Paul Kreitz, and watch that. I think it was from last week. It was phenomenal. But I want to touch on some points that he made in that broadcast. I'm not going to go as in depth as he did. But I want to touch on some points. He was talking about relationships with adult children, and specifically rebellious, disruptive adult children. And I've experienced this in my life, so this is very pertinent to my life. Good morning, Toby. So a rebellious, disruptive adult child can drain you financially, emotionally, and physically. And some adult children use several tactics to use their parents while they're acting disrespectfully and irresponsible. And this could be your adult child treating you. This could be a cousin treating an aunt or uncle. This could just be someone in your family who is having this disruptive, irresponsible behavior. And there's a dynamic going on with it. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So here's some tactics that an irresponsible adult child may use to disrupt his or her parents' life. Number one, lying. Lying, telling you anything to get your help. They know what to say to get what they want, and they often bankrupt their parents financially and emotionally through this pull, through this telling whatever you need to hear, so that I'm in trouble, but I've changed my ways, and I've changed my life, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing now. Well, that's one tactic that an adult, disruptive, rebellious child will use to manipulate his or her parents. And the second one is manipulation. Doesn't return to you for love, doesn't return to you because he really wants or she really wants to have a relationship, but because they need something. So just return to you to get what he or she needs. The parent enables this behavior. I have heard stories, and I have known a person personally, a mom who gave money to her adult child knowing that money was going to be used for drugs, but still did it anyway because of the manipulation. Often an adult, rebellious, disrupted child will use condemnation to control parents. And the third one is guilt. So you have lying, manipulation, and guilt. Those are three main tactics that a disruptive adult, an immature adult, will use to manipulate others. Sometimes parents, sometimes others. I've heard this. If you and Dad would have done this, I wouldn't have turned out this way. If you wouldn't have done this, it's your fault. Well, there comes a time in an adult's life where he or she needs to take responsibility for his or her own behavior. And we all have to mature and grow to that point. There's no perfect parents. I'm not a perfect parent, and you're not a perfect parent. So there's no perfect parent. So often they will use guilt to try to manipulate. You do not have to allow your adult son or daughter to disrespect you. You do not have to allow your adult son or daughter to curse you and speak disrespectfully to you. You don't have to allow that. There was a time when I was actually in my vehicle with my adult son, and he began to be very disrespectful and curse. I'm just being real with y'all this morning, and I actually stopped the car and said, "You got to get out." Because there comes a time when you have to say, enough is enough. I'm not going to tolerate this any longer. Because in actuality, I wouldn't let somebody else do that. I would not let someone else talk to me that way. So why is it that we as parents think that we have to allow our adult son or daughter to speak to us that way? We don't. He or she must experience the consequences of his actions. Stop cushioning their fall. You are perpetuating a cycle, especially if there's addiction involved. An addict must hit the bottom before he or she makes a decision to change. You have to hit rock bottom. And the decision has to be his own. I know a lot of parents send their kids to rehab and send them back to rehab. It has to be his or her own decision. An enabler prevents a person from hitting rock bottom. So you get this dynamic. You get a person dishonors his parents, dishonors their principles. You often hear parents say, I didn't raise him like that. Well, no, you didn't. So they will dishonor their parents and principles that they taught. Things go wrong with him or her. Financially, physically, whatever, things begin to go wrong. So then they come back to their parents to manipulate them. The parent rescues the child. The child acts, it's a cycle. The person acts dishonorably, irresponsibly, does something. Things go wrong, you have consequences. And then the adult child does not like the consequences, so they run back to their parents to manipulate them. The parent rescues the child. And then it won't be a week, 2 weeks, maybe sometimes days later, you see the dishonor and disrespect again. It's a cycle. Stop the cycle. Stop the cycle. You don't owe your adult children anything. You don't owe them anything. And it's not love. I have been criticized by people who say, well, she doesn't love her children. Yes, I do love my children. I love them enough to allow them to experience the consequences of their actions. Why? Because I want them to learn. And it's a very easy thing. I think sometimes what the problem is some parents, the easy thing and the safe thing for me that helps me feel better about myself is when I hold my children all close to me and I cushion their fall, and no matter what, they can come back to me, and I keep that good relationship with them. They come back. But what I'm doing for my own emotional comfort is harming my children. Let them experience the consequences of their actions, and it's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. It hurts to watch them go through pain because of what they've done. But you have to let them learn. So if you love your child, stop enabling him. Stop enabling her. Stop the cycle. This is specifically and so true if there's addiction there. You have to stop enabling people who have addictions and are using you. You don't owe them. So I want to encourage you today to go back, and I'm going to repost the broadcast from Dr. Kreitz. He goes more in depth with this whole situation on how to deal with disruptive, rebellious adult children. Even if you don't have children, there's somebody in your family that may be experiencing this, that you need to get this information. I'm going to repost it later. I want you to see that. You can also go to paulkreitz.com to see more information that he has about relationships. And all week I've been talking about interpersonal relationships. I want your relationships to be right. Relationships are key to your success. You don't want your energy drained. You don't want your resources drained. You don't want to be drained physically, emotionally, financially, because you need to be at your best. And that is your daily dose for today. Like and share, like and share. You know 5 people that need to hear this. There are thousands of people, even in the region where I live, who are dealing with family members who have an addiction, and you need to stop the cycle, to stop enabling addicts. It's draining the life out of you. So like and share today. Also, on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, and you can email me at mydailydoselive@gmail.com, mydailydoselive@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Join me next week, Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. for your Daily Dose. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching this morning. This is April Williams with your Daily Dose.